Today on Fox Saturday Baseball, we're smack dab in the middle of the playoff push. We've got a powerhouse matchup when the first place Padres take on the reigning NL champs. The Fightin' Phils are finally healthy and trying to bash their way into the postseason. But guess who has the best record in the NL? Today in San Diego, you'll see the best team in baseball that you may not know. Over in the AL, don't forget the boys repping the Twin Cities. Those Twins look to distance themselves from the rest of the Central when they take on Seattle. It's all next, right here on Fox. Welcome to the Sprint pregame show on Fox. Sprint, the Now Network. The weather in Seattle has reflected the Mariners' play this year. Dreary and inconsistent. Over the final few weeks of the season, their goal is to destroy the postseason dreams of their opponents, like the first-place Twins. And today, opposites attract. Jim Thome, 10th all-time with 582 career homers. Ichiro looking for another 200-hit season for the M's. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Rose, and welcome to Seattle for Fox Saturday Baseball, presented to you today by Sprint. In just a few minutes, some of you are going to stay up here in the Pacific Northwest to check out the reigning AL MVP, Joe Mauer, as he takes his hacks against the Mariners. But most of you are going to send to San Diego, and those first-place Padres, John Garland going after his team-leading 14th win. San Diego, by the way, the only National League team with 4 pitchers with double-digit wins. Opener of that series last night, the Padres were down in the 9th till that balk on Brad Lidge. Jerry Hairston Jr. scores the game-tying run. Tied at 2 in the 11th. Placido Polanco up the middle. And look at the slide by Jimmy Rollins. He's the handyman. The Phils now lead the wild card by a half game after the 3-2 win. Well, despite last night's loss, San Diego still leads the San Francisco Giants by 6 games in the NL West. In fact, the Padres have led the division for 124 games this season. That's the most in the entire big leagues. Now, there are some critics out there who say the Padres, they have the best record in the National League. Well, they have 3 words for those dissenters. We don't care.
It's hard not to hear, some of the comments.
And you just got to look at the facts of what's going on right now. Look at how we've been playing.
The team with the best record in the National League, the San Diego Padres.
And I think that does fuel our team to a certain extent.
Keep not picking us and not believing in us because, it hasn't been a factor up until now.
They're not worried about what other people are saying about us.
We're walking in, we're taking 2 out of.
Come out, watch us play, and we'll surprise you.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
This ball game belongs to the San Diego Padres.
A big part of our team is the strength of our pitching staff, from our starters into our bullpen.
I'm going to do, my part, and we're going to win a ball game. That's all 5 stars mentalities.
Big pitch right there for Matt Latos.
A lot of times, the closer gets all the accolades, and Heath Bell and Adams and Gregerson, all those guys down the line to make contributions to where we are.
We can go a solid 6 innings, and it's like 7, 8, 9 are locked up.
We kind of nickname ourselves the penitentiary out there, and we got them on lockdown, because we feel like if you give the ball over to us, we're going to keep the score the same. We're going to give you a chance to win.
The save for Heath, and the Padres win it.
With Padre baseball, you never know what can happen with us. There's games where we've scored 18 runs. There's games where we've scored 1 run and we've got 1 hit and you've still got to win.
If you were to go to a drawing board and tell somebody this is how you want to play baseball, that's how we play.
Our guys are pretty committed to each other, and that's a great thing.
The mentality of our team is about every single person, all 25 guys. It's not Adrian Gonzalez, it's not Heath Bell, it's not David Eckstein. It's about the team. It's about the San Diego Padres. It's about us going out there and winning the game.
Coming up, most of you are going to get a look to see just how good the Padres are when they take on those hard-charging Phillies. The rest of you are going to stay here in Seattle as the Twins look to extend their lead atop the American League Central when they face the Mariners. First pitch is next. Northwest as the first-place Minnesota Twins come a-calling. Minnesota won the series opener last night. Chicago also won, so the standings remain unchanged in the American League Central as the Twins have a 3.5-game lead over the White Sox. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Alongside the three-time All-Star Mark Grace, I am Chris Rose. And, Mark, the Twins are doing it yet again. More entries to Nathan and more no, but here they are. Best record in all of baseball in the second half. How are they getting it done?
Well, their manager, Ron Gardenhire, he just consistently waves that magic wand, Chris. Whoever he puts in the lineup, they seem to get the big hit. Their pitching staff, even though they're not household names, these guys make great pitches when they need to.
And today, the guy who's going to get the baseball is right-hander Nick Blackburn, making his second start since coming back from a minor league stint. Doug Fister goes for the Mariners. It's been a tough year for Seattle, but hey, Ichiro's always worth watching. And the Twins, they can swing it, including their three-time batting champ Joe Mauer. First pitch is next on Fox. Degrees in Seattle. The roof is open, and the Twins will send out this starting lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Denard Span, followed by Orlando Hudson. Joe Mauer, who's been on a tear since the All-Star break. Jason Kubel, then Michael Kadire. Jim Thome, 582 lifetime homers, good enough for 10th all-time. Delman Young, Danny Valencia, and J.J. Hardy round out the lineup. This game is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of the thirst inning. The beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean finish. Budweiser, it's what we do. And what the Twins will do is face 26-year-old right-hander Doug Fister, making his 22nd start on the season. 4-9, but a pretty solid ERA of 3.87.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't get a whole lot of offensive support when you are a starting pitcher like Doug Fister. He is a strike thrower, rarely walks anybody. He's a guy that really only 24 walks in his last 130 innings. And he's a guy that 3 is the magic number because 16 of his 21 starts this year, he's gone 3 or less. That's doing it.
Well, Denard Span will get it going for Ron Gardenhire's crew. 3.5 game lead over the Chicago White Sox in the American League Central. And the first pitch from Pfister is a called strike by Ron Kulpa. Span hitting .269 this year, but just .221 on the road as opposed to .324 at Target Field. One hopper on over to Sean Figgins, and there's one down. That'll bring up the switch hitting second baseman, Orlando Hudson. One of the real good guys in the game, likes to have a lot of fun, as you can see. Already talking it up with Josh Bard.
There's not a player in the game that Orlando Hudson doesn't know and know well.
And won't talk to.
Exactly.
Called strike.
You're going to see a lot of that from Pfister. As we said, he is a strike thrower. And what that does, it puts an offensive player in what I call swing mode.
And quickly, Hudson's behind 0-2. The 0-2 delivery by Pfister is high. Kind of a strange stat for Pfister. He's only given up 9 home runs in 128 innings worked this year. 5 of them have been to the Twins. And it's 2-2.
Just missed the inside corner there. Ron Kulpa, the home plate umpire. Seeing a lot of strikes from Pfister, and if it's not a strike, it's awfully close.
Ball fouled away. Hudson signed in the offseason to a 1-year, $5 million deal, a 2-time All-Star, a guy that's battled some injuries in recent years. Diamondbacks and Dodgers, but a productive player when healthy, and now has worked the count full.
Well, it's time to start calling Orlando Hudson a winner. Just about everywhere he goes, his team wins.
Ball lifted down the left field line and foul.
Last year with the Dodgers, this year with the Twins. A couple of years before that with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
The 3-2. And the Twins have their first man on. And here are the sprint first for the reigning AL MVP, Joe Mauer. Hitting .406 since the All-Star break. That is 20 points higher than his competition, Josh Hamilton. 954 hits since 2005. First among catchers. Last night, his 6th 3-hit game this month. What can't this guy do?
I haven't found anything yet. This is a guy where the scouting report says he has no weaknesses.
Well, last night, you just saw him collect his 40th double of the season. That's a career high as well, and he's got 5 weeks to go.
He hits from line to line. He's difficult to defense. If you throw him something inside, he pulls it. It looks like Hudson may have hurt himself. I don't know what he did. May have turned an ankle.
Well, this is a team that has been banged up. It started the year with Joe Nathan, lost for the year after Tommy John surgery. But a lot of...
He is really hurt.
Yeah, he... Take a look. Seemed rather innocent when he just...
Like a calf muscle or something to that effect. Orlando Hudson's one of those guys, even when he's perfectly healthy, he's got a little bit of hitch in his giddy up anyway. Now that's pain right there. Like he may have done something to a calf muscle, but that's all he can do to keep his feet out there.
Well, now he's down on the ground. Well, this is a team, as I said, that has battled injuries since day one.
That looks like a cramp. That looks like a cramp when you start to stretch like that. Push it back. That's trying to relieve a cramp.
Usually get those cramps in the hot weather, don't you?
Yeah, it's not real hot. Evidently, he's not eating bananas. Isn't that supposed to be good for cramps?
That and the world-famous pickle juice, right? That's what the Eagles always used to do during their cramping days when they played an early season game down in Dallas. But he's really working on this one.
He just takes a regular secondary lead, and all of a sudden, ow, okay. Well, he's been out there a while now trying to shake off something. That still didn't look very good, Chris. That was me, like, in full speed.
Yeah.
But for Orlando Hudson, that doesn't look too good.
He's really trying to give himself some time just to stretch it out, but
I think he's going to try and stay in the ball game.
While Orlando Hudson continues to talk it over with the Twins training staff and also Ron Gardenhire, who's out there, why don't we show you what happened right before the game? Little first pitch. Yes, that is Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee Floyd Little. And you're saying, well, didn't he play for the Broncos? He did. But he lives in the Seattle area. Elected by the Veterans Committee. Joined a great class that included Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith this season. More than 6,300 rushing yards. So congratulations to Floyd Little. And Orlando Hudson, he's going to stay in the game.
Yeah, he's going to be just fine.
Tough it out like a football player. There's a strike to Joe Mauer after a fairly lengthy delay. Six 3-hit games this month.
Oh.
That one off the plate. What happened to catchers wearing down in August?
Well, he spent some time on the DL, so I would imagine he is feeling great about things right now. And there's just something about a pennant race, Chris, that just gets the juices flowing.
That ball tapped on over to Figgins. He goes to second for one, and that's all they're going to get. And Hudson still gingerly trotting off the field. We saw Alexi Casilla stretching in the dugout, so we'll see whether or not Hudson makes it out to his position.
Knowing Orlando Hudson, I have a feeling he'll be just fine.
So 2 down now in the first. That brings up Jason Kubel. Looks at a called strike. Kubel, 261 with 18 homers, 81 RBIs, 23 of those coming this month, most in the American League. Fouls one away.
He and the rest of these Twins making up for the loss of Justin Morneau, who still feeling the effects of a concussion. Been out a while now, and it's too bad, a former MVP. But somehow, these Twins just continue to roll, even without their best players.
Fists one foul.
Haven't had one of the best closers in all of baseball all season long, Chris, as you mentioned earlier. Joe Nathan.
Well, the Twins did make a major addition to their bullpen, picking up Brian Fuentes in a deal yesterday from the Los Angeles Angels. He was traveling up to Seattle today. He's on their roster, on their active roster, so the Twins expect him to be available. And it's now 1-2. They picked up a pair of lefties this week. Randy Flores off of waivers from the Rockies. In fact, he pitched in last night's win. And then Fuentes, a 4-time All-Star who led all of baseball with 48 saves a year ago. Big swing and a miss. And the Twins go rather quietly, which included an injury to Orlando Hudson. Nick Blackburn on the bump when we come back. while running the bases in the first, has been removed, replaced by Matt Tolbert at second, and Nick Blackburn will face this starting lineup, which is brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. The Mariners, a .236 average, worst in baseball, but Ichiro still swinging it at .311 this year. He'll be followed by Sean Figgins, Russell Branyan, Jose Lopez, Casey Kotchman, Franklin Gutierrez, Ryan Langerhans, Josh Bard, and Josh Wilson to round it out against Nick Blackburn, who is making his second start since being demoted to AAA for a 4-game stint, making his 20th start on the year, trying to even his record at 8-8.
Yeah, just way too talented of a right-handed pitcher to have those kind of numbers coming into the game. Well, he's a sinker baller, but the sinker has been staying up around the belt, and those are easy to hit by these major leaguers. And speaking of major leaguers, well, the question marks are there. It's time for Nick Blackburn to show Ron Gardenhire and the rest of the staff that he is a major leaguer and going to be a major leaguer, as you see Orlando Hudson exit stage left.
And we will keep our eye on him, try and get a report from the Twins clubhouse to see exactly what went wrong in the top of the first. Well, Ichiro has been everything right for the Mariners since he came over to Seattle in 2001. As we check out his sprint first for Ichiro, 51 multi-hit games this season. That's the most in the bigs, and nearly 2,200 hits since 2001. He will not get another one here as Tolbert fields cleanly, and there's one away. Brings up Sean Figgins, and it has been a struggle his first year in Seattle, hitting just .248. Signed a 4-year, $36 million deal. Came over in the offseason from the Angels, and he was one of the big reasons Seattle felt like they could make a push and jump over the Angels in the AL West.
And it's just unfortunately not happened for Sean Figgins. Only a .338 on base percentage, a guy that as an Angel, and this guy consistently got MVP votes. Just a terrific player that just hasn't found his way yet up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, today might be the perfect tonic, as you can see by those numbers. 11 for 19 lifetime against Nick Blackburn.
That is officially a tardy swing right there, Chris Rose.
You mean it's not good when it's already in the catcher's mitt when you swing? Is that what you're saying? Up the middle. Hardy to his left. And there's 2 down.
That's good news for Twins fans. As 2 batters up, 2 ground balls. That means the Blackburn sinker is doing some sinking here this afternoon.
And here comes Russell Branyan. Those are his total numbers in stints with Cleveland and Seattle. Came over in a late June trade back to the Pacific Northwest, where he hit 31 homers a year ago. He's hit 10 homers in 39 games with the Mariners. Mark, that is tied for the team lead.
And guys like this are just good for baseball. You don't want a whole team of guys like Russell Branyan, but it's fun to have a guy that, you know, if one mistake, it can go in any upper deck in baseball.
That includes this one.
Includes this one, which was way out there.
Hitting just .207 overall in 39 games with the Mariners. There's a ball ripped into right. And that'll get past Kubel and to the wall. Branyan hustling into second, and he slides in safely with a 2-out double.
A hanging breaking ball there from Blackburn, and Russell Branyan just drills it and it gets by Kubel in right field. Kubel makes a nice throw and almost gets Big Russell. Come on, Russell, get there, son. I know you can. Just ahead of the throw. So the first base hit of the ball game belongs to Russell Branyan.
And now an RBI opportunity for Jose Lopez. Had a huge 09 as well, the power department. So he looks at a called strike. Well, Nick Blackburn, as you can see, 5-0 in May, and since then, When that ERA is nearing double digits, that's a bad sign.
And the fun ended once June came.
Lopez, a base hit to left. Young's got a pretty good arm, and they're going to hold Branyan at third. Lee Tinsley, the third base coach, said, hold on there, partner. He probably watched Branyan run to second after hitting that double. He goes, probably not a great idea.
Yeah, Lee Tinsley had no choice there. He made the right move. Russell Branyan not moving too well, as this one's hit hard through the left side. Come on, Russell. And the stop sign goes up, and rightfully so. Delmon Young has a very good arm. It would have been a dead duck and easy out at the plate.
Well, Young with 8 assists to lead all Twins outfielders. So runners at the corners for Casey Kotchman. Looks at a called strike.
There's your 3 outfielders. They lead the American League in assists. Young with a above average arm span. An average arm, I guess you could say. And we saw the good throw by Jason Kubel, almost getting Russell Branyan at second base. So these guys do a great job of getting it in and hitting the cutoff man.
Fouled away into the Twins dugout as they had to scatter.
Look out, boys.
Well, this is a situation, if you're a Mariners fan, that you want Casey Kotchman at the dish. With 2 outs and runners in scoring position, hitting .412.
Wow. You love that.
See if he can keep it going on an 0-2 count against Nick Blackburn. Ball fisted. Young in a few steps, and he gloves it. So the Mariners threaten, but they do not score. We head to the second, scoreless in Seattle. By Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Fusion. The second for the Minnesota Twins, who have just announced that Orlando Hudson left the game with a sprained right ankle. He is day-to-day. It's a good idea for Matt Tolbert to get a little extra eye black this afternoon, as he's going to play the duration at second base.
And, of course, the ball will find you when you're a replacement like that. The first batter of the game, Ichiro hits a ground ball to him. Speaking of ground balls, through the left side, Michael Kadire to start the Twins.
And here's what happened to Orlando Hudson in the first. Just after a pitch, walking back to first, seemed pretty innocent.
Who knows? It goes down as a sprained right ankle, and you can see he's hurting.
That usually happens to old, out-of-shape guys that are in a broadcast booth, like the two of us, not pristine athletes like the O-Dog. Jim Thome, first pitch swinging, fouls one off. Jose Lopez playing on the shift, has a long way to run and can't get there.
You run all that way, and it's about 5 rows deep. As you said, the big shift was on for Jim Thome, so Lopez was playing in the shortstop area. So he'll get a couple of wind sprints in, and we'll do it all over again.
Jim Thome, 582 homers. One behind Mark McGwire for 9th on the all-time list. Number 582 came Thursday in Texas. And a typical Thome shot, left center, that great opposite field power. There's a ball hit to Figgins. This could be 2. There's 1, and there's 2. So the shift works perfectly against Jim Thome.
Now Figgins all the way across, easily turned there. Even in his younger days, big Jim Thome didn't run all that well, so that was an easy tailor-made double play to get Pfister out of some trouble. Kadire going in hard.
That Branyan-type speed will kill you on the paths. 2 down now for Delman Young. Great overall season, body of work. Taps one that Pfister is just going to touch Young, and that'll do it.
That didn't take long.
It sure didn't. A quick, easy inning for Doug Pfister. It's still scoreless. Is sponsored by Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. The beautiful Pacific Northwest. Maybe Gracie, you got time for dip a little later out there?
That might be a little chilly.
Okay. Franklin Gutierrez tied with Russell Branyan for the team lead with 10 homers, stepping in against Nick Blackburn, who gave up base hits to Branyan and Lopez, but managed to get out of trouble in the first. Numbers 1 low. Big swing and a miss.
That was the good sinker there from Blackburn. That one knifed down and in. That sinker had some teeth. Watch it, just the late tilt down and in, right over the top of goes Gutierrez. That's what Nick Blackburn needs to throw. Right back with it. Didn't get the call that time.
Blackburn really struggled this season. Then on July 30th, he was demoted to AAA Rochester, where he went 1-0 with a 2.49 ERA in 4 starts. Basically looking to regain some confidence. And I was talking with Ron Gardenhire, and he said that Blackburn was actually excited to go down to the minors to regain that confidence, to work on his game. In fact, if the Twins hadn't approached him about it, he was going to go into Ron's office and say, hey, I need to go down and get some work, because he had been demoted to the bullpen and wasn't logging enough innings.
Well, that's being a stand-up guy, and that's what you want from all your players. Oh, good pitch there.
Called strike 3 on Gutierrez. First strikeout of the afternoon for Blackburn. And it is time for our 4 keys to the game.
For Minnesota, it's the men in the middle. And for Seattle, the men at the top. The men in the middle are the middle of the order guys. I'm talking about Mauer, Kubel, Kadire, Tomey, Delman Young. Those are the guys that are going to have to lead the charge. Well, for a lineup that struggles in Seattle, the 2 guys at the top have got to do the job, and that is Ichiro and Sean Figgins. They need to get on for these guys if they're going to have any chance against this terrific Minnesota team.
Well, the number 7 hitter for the Mariners, Ryan Langerhans, stepping in. He looks at one outside. It's been a tumultuous season for the Mariners. On the field, off of it as well, where they had a managerial change. Don Wakamatsu fired on August 9th, replaced by Darren Brown. Here's a good look at Darren Brown, 43-year-old former pitcher in the Blue Jays organization. He's been with this franchise for the last decade. Draws a walk. Well, Milton Bradley took a leave of absence back in May. Then Ken Griffey Jr. retired a month later. Cliff Lee dealt beginning of July to the Rangers. Then Sean Figgins and Don Wakamatsu had a fight in the dugout. A few weeks later, Wakamatsu was fired, replaced by the 43-year-old Brown. This is a franchise that had a lot going for it. 85 wins a year ago. Josh Bard looks at a called strike.
And a lot of people had these Mariners possibly winning the West. They thought that maybe the Angels had come back to the pack a little bit, and that would have been the case. The Angels have come back to the pack. I don't think many people expected the Texas Rangers to be doing what they're doing. They have been a great story. Ron Washington has done a fabulous job with them.
Ball hit on over to Tolbert. Over to Hardy for 1. Back to first. A double play. So a twin killing by the Twins. We will return to Seattle after a word from your local Fox station. We are scoreless through 2. A 6-pitch second inning, and he will face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. In the Twins lineup, Danny Valencia, who has been quite the find, hitting .325 this season in 57 games. Squares to bunt and fouls it away. And perhaps he's finally giving stability to the third base position that's really been a revolving door since 2006. They've had 11 different players at that position.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't remember many since Gary Gaetti.
Pretty good one on those 2 championship teams for the Twins. Valencia came up with the key hit last night, a 2-run triple.
He got 2 strikes on him, and he got a pitch he could handle, and he delivered the big blow.
Puts one low and outside, apparently.
Yeah, it looked pretty good to me, too.
Fouled one back.
That was a big rip and a hanging slider. Those are the ones you got to do your damage on, Chris. You don't get too many of these over the course of a day. Just a cement mixer of a slider there. The big rip, but he missed it.
The 2-2 is outside. Valencia called up by the Twins for his big league debut in early June. Got his first hit against King Felix. It's a pretty good one.
Guys can say that.
Ball tapped foul. Remind me again, last week you told me who you got your first hit off of. It was the guy that got demoted.
That's exactly
the
right.
Next day,
that was
San Diego.
That was Keith Comstock,
yes.
a former Mariner. And after I hit that home run, he was a former Padre.
And a former big leaguer. Career killer Mark Grace.
You figure if that guy can hit a home run off you, you need to go.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat. We'll have to wait.
A good battle between a couple of rising youngsters.
Well, Pfister got off to a great start. In fact, led all of baseball in ERA through May 2nd. It was 1.29 ERA. Well, Saturday Baseball on Fox returns next week. You're going to see either these Twins take on the Rangers. Also a first-place battle in the National League Central. You got the Reds and the Cardinals. Mark and I will be in San Diego for the Rockies and the Padres. All the action comes your way at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Check your local listings.
Well, those are some good matchups, some really good matchups next week.
Valencia laces one to left center. Gutierrez is going to cut it off. He's got a really good arm, and he'll hold Valencia to a single.
Well, he just wore out Doug Pfister in that at-bat. The 10th pitch of the at-bat, a fastball thigh high in the middle of the plate. Valencia just rips it into left center. That's actually a very good play by Franklin Gutierrez to get over there and hold Valencia to a single.
So that'll bring up J.J. Hardy, the everyday shortstop, hitting just .260. Twins lead all of baseball with a .279 average. Hardy, a guy who came over from Milwaukee in the offseason for Carlos Gomez. Former All-Star up there with the Brewers, but his play had slid a bit. In fact, he got sent down by the Brewers in August of last year as Valencia draws a throw. Ball hit past a diving Kochman, and that's going to roll around. Valencia hits third, and he's going to stay there as Ichiro is up with it.
Well, Ron Gardner plays hit and run. The slider stays right. That's a great job of hitting by J.J. Hardy, slashing it past a diving Casey Kochman. And right by first base umpire Lance Barksdale. And smartly, Valencia held up at third because Ichiro came up firing to the plate. But all of a sudden, now with nobody out, the Twins cooking up a brew here in the third inning.
15th double of the year for J.J. Hardy, and that'll bring up the leadoff man, Denard Span.
Well, when a hit and run works, it is so pretty to watch, isn't it, Chris?
It's great. It's great. Put players in motion.
Baseball at its purest.
Span looks at a called strike. And it seems like that's what the Twins have been doing ever since the Tom Kelly days in the mid-'80s.
That's very true. But these guys don't have the power that those Tom Kelly teams had with Gaetti and Herbeck and Puckett.
Ball fouled away. Tom Brunansky.
Another guy on those teams is one of the radio voices of the Minnesota Twins. He's here with us today, Dan Gladden.
Scored the game winner in the 91 World Series, didn't he?
He's one of those guys that gave those Twins teams some toughness, some grit.
They still have that, even though they've moved their home outdoors.
Have you been to Target Field yet?
Have not yet.
Oh, you're missing out.
I know.
It is a palace of a ballpark. The Twins got that right, and the folks in Minnesota should be very proud of what they've got up there. What a great ballpark that is, Chris.
Ball into right center. Gutierrez on his horse, and he does not catch it as it fell out of his mitt. And Valencia is going to score the first run of the game.
No, Gutierrez gets it all. He's got it just right off the heel of the glove. And that's a good call by second base umpire Eddie Rapuano. You'll see the ball come out just right there, and then it gets right back in the glove. But Frankie Gutierrez, one of the better center fielders in the game. You're usually seeing him come up with those, but he doesn't come up with that one. And you can see some confusion on the base pass. Valencia, whoa, heck, what? Heck, well, what do I do? Okay, just go. And a big hit there for Span, and now, all of a sudden, after Tolbert, you're going to be dealing with those boys in the middle of this order. So Pfister trying to calm down what can possibly be a very big inning. Still nobody out.
Tolbert with his first at bat of the afternoon came on to replace the injured Orlando Hudson. He left in the first after rolling his ankle on the base paths.
Once again, the fly ball off the bat of Span, and as a base runner, you're like, boy, what do I do? What do I do? Okay. And once again, they just did it right fundamentally again.
Called strike.
Which is one thing you're going to get from Ron Gardenhire and his staff. These guys are, in my opinion, the most fundamentally sound Major League Baseball team in the business. They don't beat themselves.
Ball fouled away. You hear that a lot about the Twins team, but I always wonder if there's ever a way to figure out how many wins and losses that equates to over the length of the 162-game season. Because you know somewhere along the line, a little play goes a long way.
That's true, but also a big way that they do the little things well, and this is not a little thing. They're the best defensive team in baseball, and that's a way you don't beat yourself. When you consistently give your opponent just 3 outs an inning, you'd be surprised at the end of a season just how much that will add up. Your pitchers don't have to throw as many pitches because they're making errors behind you. You're fresher in September with your arms. Close play at first. Denard Span almost got caught napping. The tag was on the shoulder. Had it been a little lower, I think he'd have got the out call.
And there is an out call on a called third strike on a beauty by Pfister.
Was that much needed? A breaking ball up around the belt. Tolbert thinks it's high, but well, that's a nice hanging breaking ball. Good one to take a whack at.
Well, the Twins have been red hot since the break. 28-13, best record in all of baseball. Hitting nearly 300. On base percentage of nearly 360, and they almost had Span going on that one.
Span was going on that one. They're trying to stay out of the double play. Well, you get a big strikeout of Tolbert. Now it's okay. You can relax for a bit, and then you look in the batter's box and you see Joe Mauer. Oh, boy.
Ball tapped foul. Now Mauer would have to get on some serious giddy-up, and Josh Hamilton would have to go into a major slump if he were to win his 4th batting crown in 5 years. But still, another amazingly productive season for Joe Mauer. Remember, everybody was talking at the All-Star game, boy, Joe Mauer's just not Joe Mauer. Well, he is now. Yeah. Thank you.
It's only a matter of time before the superstars become superstars again.
Once again, he's hitting over 400 since the All-Star break, and that's without Justin Morneau
protecting him. Exactly. Although the guy on deck, Jason Kubel, doing a great job in that spot. Good pitch, didn't get the call. Right there is a great example of a young pitcher in Doug Fister and a star in Joe Mauer. Nope, that's a ball.
So you're saying if that was Maddox, Glavine, or Smoltz?
Oh, that would an extra foot on the outside corner for those guys.
I love riling you National League hitters up about that.
No, don't get me started on that. I still have nightmares about Javi Lopez, the catcher, sitting a foot outside. Strike.
The 2-2. Ball hit sharply to Figgins. This could get Fister out of the inning. And it does. Fister gets the hottest hitter in baseball, but the Twins do jump on the board. Sprint, the Now Network. Twins got one in the top of the frame. It could have been more as Doug Fister got Joe Mauer to bounce into a 4-6-3 double play.
It could have been a very big inning. Instead, a great job by Fister, keeping it just one and keeping his Mariners in the ball game.
Now a 1-1 count on the shortstop, Josh Wilson, who has taken over for the injured Jack Wilson. He is done for the year after having surgery on his broken right hand. Slipped in his bathroom at home. Ball hit on a line, span back a few paces, and there's one down. And that'll bring up Ichiro, who grounded out.
How many athletes, Chris, over the years have broken something slipping in the bathtub at home?
Could probably come up with a pretty good graphic, right, over the years?
Just kind of a convenient thing to do.
Now, you know, Jeff Kent got hurt washing his truck.
Yes, allegedly.
Yep. Ichiro looks at a called strike.
Or you miss a month due to an injury at a family outing. No, honestly, I wasn't riding a horse or riding a motorcycle or skydiving. No, it's a family outing.
You know, those dangerous Saturday family outings. Got to be careful of those things.
Clint Barmas of the Colorado Rockies. This is trouble.
Valencia, good strong throw gets Ichiro, and there's 2 down.
That's a really good play by the young third baseman. Usually a chopper to the left side like this, you can just mail in an infield hit for Ichiro, but a strong throw across the diamond gets Ichiro by a step. That's a super play.
He can still leg it out pretty good at age 36. It was Ichiro bobblehead night last night. They gave away 20,000 of those babies. Little liner to J.J. Hardy in a quick inning for Nick Blackburn. We head to the 4th with the Twins up 1-0. Olive Garden. When you're here, your family. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men.
Did you throw any fish down there while you were here, Chris?
I did. I've been here 3 times. I have yet to be to the fish market.
That's fun.
I'm sure it is.
Those guys are good. They never drop one.
No, they're great. Great fielding percentage. Their range is remarkable,
better
too.
Better Nazi or...
Yeah. One of the guys does backflips. Well, Jason Kubel hitting 4th because Justin Morneau was injured early July, taking a knee to the head from Toronto's John McDonald. Post-concussion syndrome since then. Here, Kubel lifts one that Lopez is battling the sun against. And he'll squeeze it for out number 1.
Yeah, it just doesn't look too violent there, but don't tell Justin Morneau that. What a shame when a player of his caliber Can't play because of headaches and dizziness.
Well, Ron Gardenhire told us he continues to take batting practice about every other day back at Target Field. Did it on Thursday, had a good session. Apparently felt pretty well on Friday as this ball is rolled to Wilson by Michael Kadire. And there's 2 down. That throw got away from Wilson a little bit.
Nice play by Casey Kochman. As you said, it gets away from Wilson a little bit, but up the ladder because all first basemen are so athletic, Chris Rose, and back down on the bag. 2 quick outs.
And now there is a pinch hitter for Jim Thome. Jason Repko.
Well, what have you done to these Twins today, Chris?
I'm telling you. We'll have to see what happened. Jim Thome, who turned 40 years old yesterday and had the day off. You know, he got hit by a pitch earlier in the week by Neftali Feliz right in the thigh. In fact, he had to miss a game because of it. Who knows if that's something that has continued to linger throughout the week.
He tapped into a double play his first at bat, and he said, well, I'm 40 years old. I don't feel like doing that anymore.
And apparently we are just getting word that lower back stiffness for Jim Thome, that's something that he has battled for several years.
Welcome to the 40s, Jim. One of the real good guys in the game. You hope he's okay. You hope Orlando Hudson as well. Another quick inning for Fister.
A great job, and this game is flying along. It's 1-0 Twins. The Mariners, it's Branyan, Lopez, and Kochman. Branyan, they double back in the first. Has 15 hits in the month of August. 7 have left the yard. In the meantime, Nick Blackburn continues to pitch a pretty good game.
He's showing everybody he is truly, again, a major leaguer. This guy is a good pitcher. There's no reason for him to have the numbers he's had this year with the kind of stuff he possesses. I think even some great ones, hitters and pitchers, Chris, sometimes when You go through a month-long lull, you lose your confidence. All of a sudden, you start doubting yourself.
Tap to Hardy, and there's one down. The Twins playing a little short-handed. We saw Orlando Hudson hurt in the first, and then Jim Thome. We just caught up with Twins manager Ron Gardenhire and asked him about the health of the man who's clubbed 582 lifetime homers.
Said he felt his back, so tightened his back up and didn't think he could swing.
Hey, Gardy, you got to be awfully proud of the way you guys have played here since the All-Star break.
Yeah, you know what? The guys are getting after it. Our pitching's gotten better, and you know, Michael Goddard's picked us up big time at first base, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. These guys are playing hard.
And listen, Joe Mauer's had a tough day so far at the dish, but he continues to go to the Ron Gardenhire school of hitting, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's the Ron Gardenhire don't listen to me school. He'll do fine. He's a pretty good hitter.
All right, buddy. As always, we appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, in the meantime, Jose Lopez just lined one out to Danny Valencia. There's two down for Casey Kochman, who flew out to end the first when the Mariners had threatened with 2 on and 2 out.
Both teams having at-bats like they've got dinner plans, early dinner plans.
There's a called strike.
The great Joe Garagiola would always say in games like this, boy, these guys are swinging like they're double parked.
Lace to center, Span in his footsteps, and another 1-2-3 inning and a 7th-pitch inning for Nick Blackburn. Bright sunny day now in Seattle as we move on to the top of the 5th. Delman Young looks at a called strike.
Both pitchers just continue to pound the strike zone and force these guys with early swings. And we're throwing nothing but strikes like both pitchers are, Chris. Guys have to start swinging the bat. That's why the quick innings, the quick outs.
Young struggling in August, hitting just 200 this month after a red-hot July in which he had 434 with 30 RBIs. Got himself in AL MVP discussion. Figgins, all the way from the outfield grass, is not going to get Young as he beats that out. Good play by Figgins to get there, but his momentum took him the wrong direction.
Yeah, he's playing Young to pull and then can't get enough on the throw. And a base hit for Young. Doug Fister has been very, very good friends with the double play ball. He could use another one here.
Well, he's already gotten Maurer and Tomey to ground into him. Now he faces Danny Valencia. Well, the NFL season is just a few weeks away. Get your fantasy football team now at foxsports.com/fantasy. Fox Fantasy Football features new draft rooms, mock drafts, draft kits. Still 100% free. It's foxsports.com/fantasy.
How are your beloved Cleveland Browns going to be this year?
6-10, but a better product. Well, both these cities are going to be watching a little NFL football tonight, I'm guessing, as the Seahawks and
are
Vikings
in action, huh?
in Minnesota. That's a called strike.
The Seahawks will get introduced to the Brett Favre circus.
My guess is he will see more than 4 snaps tonight.
I think you're right.
Could be wrong. Ball inside. Well, the NFL preseason concludes tomorrow on Fox. It's the Steelers taking on the Denver Broncos. Coverage at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific in HD right here on Fox. Ben Roethlisberger reportedly took most of the snaps this week in Steelers practice. Probably see a decent amount of playing time. And get a good look at Tim Tebow as well. No comment from Mark Grace.
Wow. At a loss for words. It's another double play ball, possibly.
There's one. And no. Valencia beats it out.
That was a lot closer at first base than I thought. Kochman makes a nice grab. Oh, so close, but a good call over there by Lance Barksdale.
So man on for the number 9 hitter, J.J. Hardy, who put together a hit-and-run double back in the 3rd. It's one down low. The Twins, they're not sure if and when they will get Justin Morneau back. We've touched on it. We showed you the injury earlier. It's a called strike. Morneau continues to take batting practice in Minnesota. Ron Gardenhire says, listen, there's days where he just feels great. He'll even do a workout session, be okay, and then the room will start spinning for him. There's a big strike call there.
Oh, I love those field microphones.
But in the meantime, they've got tremendous production out of Jason Kubel and Jim Tomey. Ball laced foul.
And Michael Kadire. Delman Young's had a great year all year long.
But still, with all that, just a 3.5 game lead as we approach September over the Chicago White Sox. Those two teams will meet 3 more times in Chicago in mid-September.
Oh, in June and July, Ozzie Guillen and the White Sox just decided they weren't going to lose.
Well, that is a nasty, nasty pitch by Doug Fister, and he gets his 4th strikeout of the day.
A big breaking ball from Fister. Right over the top of it goes J.J. Hardy, and as you said, nasty, filthy, lots of adjectives to describe that one.
So 2 down now for Denard Span. The Twins, the White Sox, they've been going at it ever since Chicago turned it on in June. You can see the upcoming games. After tomorrow's day tilt here in Seattle, Minnesota will head home. Have an off day on Monday, then 9 straight at home against Detroit, Texas, and Kansas City. Next Saturday's game, some of you will see right here on Fox. Ball outside. Who do you give the edge to down the stretch? Is it the Twins because of the moves they've made over the last few months, getting Matt Capps and yesterday Brian Fuentes?
Yeah, it's the Twins. I just think, first of all, they got 4 games to play with. And I just think right now, offensively and defensively, they're the best team in that division.
Well, today they are pitching a shutout, and 1 run has been enough. Sprint, the Now Network. Beautiful skyline here in Seattle.
Love this city. Lots of love here.
And it loves you back, too, Gracie.
You know, I can feel that. It should.
And the Twins love what they've seen out of Nick Blackburn this afternoon, making his 2nd start since getting recalled from AAA Rochester. Remember, this is a guy that went 11-11 in each of his first 2 full seasons in the bigs. Ball tap foul by Franklin Gutierrez. And he started game 2 of the ALDS last year against the Yankees. Gave up just 1 run and 3 hits in 5 2/3. Ron Gardenhire made a point to say this guy has won us some big ball games in recent years.
And he would not be lying at all. This guy has been terrific for the Twins.
Ball laced to Valencia, who makes a nice stab at it, and there's 1 down. In the meantime, here's a DirecTV update from San Diego, and the Phils getting on the board first. It's Shane Victorino sending it past John Garland. The bearded man, Jason Wirtz, scores. It's 1-0 Phils. Remember to see every baseball game in HD. It's 1-800-DirecTV.
Couple of low-scoring shootouts, back-to-back games down in San Diego with the Phillies and Padres.
Great slide last night by Jimmy Rollins.
One of the best you'll see.
Start off that West Coast swing, and now the Phillies start the day with a half-game lead over the Giants and a 1-game lead over the Cardinals in the chase for the wild card. Ryan Langerhans is behind in the count, 0-2. Blackburn has set down 11 straight Seattle Mariners. This team is on pace to average the fewest runs per game in team history. Less than 3.3 runs per game. There's a called 3rd strike.
Beautiful changeup that time. Right on the outside corner. I'll tell you, Ron Kulpa's right arm is getting a workout. Looks like that might have stayed up around the belt, but those were good to take swings at. Those are hanging changeups. 2 more quick outs here for Blackburn.
He's thrown only 46 pitches in his first 16 batters faced. There's a big swing and a miss from Josh Bard. Well, the Mariners pitching staff has been just fine, thank you, this year. Their starters ERA, second best in the AL.
That's usually the case with Seattle, at least the last couple, 3 years. They have got some pitching.
But
they just have not scored any runs, as you were saying.
They're in danger of having the lowest batting average in team history.
Nice play down the line.
Now the question is she going to find the best looking guy out there and give him the baseball like
That's
the
the
guy
role
did
reversal,
in Oakland,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Line down the line and stick that big right paw up there and make the play. Nicely done. Beautiful female makes a beautiful play.
Did you see those 2 kids? They actually went out on a date in Oakland.
No, I did not know
Kevin
that.
the ball boy, the guy he gave the girl 4 straight baseballs. They ended up going out on a date this week, apparently.
That's all it takes, huh?
It's pretty good, though.
I could use a little some pointers from Kevin the ball boy.
Dating tips for Mark Grace.
I just get told no a lot, or that famous word, whatever.
The 2-2 delivery, a called third strike. Another 1-2-3 inning for Nick Blackburn. Is sponsored by Progressive, making insurance better. By Michelin, a better way forward. And by Chevrolet. Every model is backed by a 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty. This game speeding right along to the top of the 6th. Tolbert, Maurer, and Kubel. Tolbert took over for the injured Orlando Hudson back in the 1st. Tries a bunt attempt, and it's a strike. Hudson listed as day-to-day with a sprained right ankle, as you can see. Checking out
on the bench, yeah.
Of course he is. That's the kind of guy he is. Get back
Team guy.
Yeah. Ball tapped to Kochman. Gloves. takes it to the bag.
This was Orlando Hudson earlier in the game. He just comes up lame, taking a secondary lead. He finished out the rest of that inning, but had to take a left turn back up into the clubhouse to get treatment for whatever ailed him, and that ended up being a right ankle sprain. Is that right, Chris?
That's exactly what it was. And no matter how small the injury is, this team's been bitten by the bugaboo since day one. We talked about the season ender for Joe Nathan back in spring training. It's continued well into August with injuries to Morneau, Nick Punto, Jose Mujeres, their lefty reliever. That kind of prompted the deal to get Brian Fuentes yesterday from the Angels.
Ron Mayhay.
He's gone the year with a rotator cuff injury to his non-throwing shoulder. That happened a week ago today. Joe Mauer behind 0-2.
But they just continue to win. And that's a big testament to Ron Gardenhire and his coaching staff and these players themselves. They're a good story year in and year out.
3 pitches, and Joe Mauer's having a seat.
Well, right now, 2 young pitchers just putting on a show. Right back, shaves off the inside corner. We call that the comebacker. Starts it at the front hip of Joe Mauer. Gets it to the inside corner. Mauer knew it.
Well, Pfister has pitched much better than his 4-9 record coming into the day. 3.87 ERA. First month of the season, he was lights out. Lost his last start Monday at Boston, gave up 5 runs in 6 1/3, but only 2 of those were earned. And when you're on a staff like this and you know that your team's going to struggle to scratch runs across, I mean, it just puts more and more pressure on you, doesn't it?
First of all, you gotta get the defense behind you. If you're not going to score runs, you have to prevent runs. Well, the pitching staff does a very good job of that with the Seattle Mariners, but the defense needs to be tightened up as well over the course of the season. Oh, what a beautiful pitch there to the outside corner at the knees.
Now a 2-2 count on Jason Kubel. And he's worked it full. Pfister has walked 1 batter. That was Orlando Hudson back in the first. He has 5 strikeouts this afternoon.
Oh, my goodness. Jerry White nearly got decapitated. He's okay.
Well, the pump gets a little bit of a workout on that one.
Oh, my goodness. Fortunately, he's okay, and the Seattle crowd giving him a nice round of applause. One of the very good men in this game, Jerry White. It's ball 4 with 2 outs here to Jason Kubel.
Well, this was the stadium, of course, as they're all getting a good laugh at it, where Tommy Lasorda bit it in the third base dugout during the 0-1 All-Star game.
Trying to remember who the hitter was.
Vlad Guerrero.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Bat helicoptering. 70-plus-year-old man. First pitch strike to Michael Kadire. 1 for 2 on the afternoon. This one a 1-hopper back to Pfister, and another easy inning for the Seattle starter. See if the Mariners can scratch across a run. All pitching. Nick Blackburn, 5 shutout innings. Doug Fister, 1 run in 6 innings for Seattle.
And both pitchers have just been ahead in the count all day long.
Blackburn has retired 13 in a row. Among them, Josh Wilson, who flew out in the 3rd. Will pop up to Young in left, and there's 1 down. Now Ichiro 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts.
As a baseball fan, I know you have been your whole life, Chris. Do you like a good pitcher's duel, or do you like a slugfest?
No, I don't mind them at all. I mean,
I love a good pitcher's duel.
Yeah, why not? Why not? That's what we've got today.
Now, slugfests are fun, too. But especially a couple of guys, one in Blackburn, fighting for his major league life, coming out here putting on a show.
Ball hit to Kadire. It's going to be a quick race, and Blackburn beats Ichiro to the bag.
Well, that's a play where Kadire being aggressive, but his second baseman Tolbert is right there. Instead, now you got to hit a moving target just ahead of Ichiro, but it's a nice play on both ends. Get on your horse, Blackburn. 2 quick outs.
A little of that pitcher's fielding practice, right?
Well, for pitchers, all you young pitchers out there, once the ball is hit, there's always some place for you to be. Either a ground ball to the right side, covering first, or backing up a base if you give up a base hit. There's always some place to be. You don't need to be just standing on the mound spectating. So that's a nice job by Nick Blackburn. Not taking anything for granted, not assuming it was to the second baseman, got over there and got a big out.
Figgins attempted bunt, and Blackburn's going to squeeze it. We will return to Seattle after a word from your local Fox station. By Sprint. Sprint, the Now Network. Top of 7 in Seattle. Jason Repko came on to replace the injured Jim Thome. Thome left after his first at bat, strain in his lower back. Repko, originally a first-round pick of the Dodgers back in 1999. Spent parts of 4 seasons with the big league club. Released at the end of March and signed by the Twins. Just low. With Pfister and Jason Vargas, the man who started last night, and of course King Felix. Swing and a miss there. Seattle's got the makings of a decent rotation.
Look at that sinker right underneath the hands of Repko. Beautiful pitch there by Pfister. Comes back with the slider. Repko's going to hang around.
Well, they've got their ace in Felix Hernandez. They had a second one up here for half the year, Cliff Lee. Turned him around for Justin Smoke and 3 minor leaguers from Texas. There's a called third strike. 6th strikeout in the afternoon for Pfister. And it is time for a DirecTV game break. More action from San Diego. It's the Padres pitcher John Garland tying it at 1 in the 5th. And then David Eckstein recently off the DL. But look at the Gold Glover Shane Victorino up and firing and nailing Chase Headley at the dish. It is 1-1 in the 6th. Remember, to see every game in HD, it's 1-800-DirecTV. And right there you see a little base hit by Delman Young, his 2nd of the afternoon.
He breaks his bat on a fastball in, but he's just so doggone strong that it easily gets out into center field for a base hit. That's his 2nd of the afternoon. Look at the head stay right on it, though. That is a nice swing by the former first-round pick.
Danny Valencia 1 for 2. He scored the lone run of the game back in the 3rd. Made a couple of solid plays over at 3rd to help out Nick Blackburn. Sean White starting to get loose in the Mariners bullpen. Ball tapped. Lopez bare hands it. Gets Young at 2nd, but they didn't have time to turn it. Interesting play by Jose Lopez.
You don't see those get barehanded very often, but he makes a nice play. I wouldn't suggest doing that, but he gets the lead runner. And at the end of the day, if you make the play, I guess it doesn't matter how you do it.
So 2 down now for J.J. Hardy. 1 for 2 with a double back in the 3rd. He looks at an off-speed pitch. A little high. King Felix, as we mentioned, Felix Hernandez, earlier this week picked up the 1,000th strikeout of his career. Fourth youngest all-time to accomplish that feat. Hardy ahead. The count 2-1. Ball hit to Lopez. He uses his mitt this time. Goes the short way, and that'll do it. It's stretch time in Seattle. Twins up 1-0. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Sprint, is sponsored by DirecTV. Watch your favorite team wherever you live, only on DirecTV. By Lowe's. Lowe's, let's build something together. And by Just for Men Hair Color. Live forward. Well, the Seattle Mariners have not had a base runner since Ryan Langerhans walked in the second. It is now the 7th, and Nick Blackburn still working away.
Haven't had a hit since the first inning. Jose Lopez singled with Russell Branyan on second base. And then Nick Blackburn has just said, "Now, you guys aren't getting any more base runners."
One fouled away.
Yes, he's been in a sofa chair out on the mound. It's been that easy.
7 pitches in the third, 7 in the fourth, 6 in the 6th. Well, it has been a struggle since day one for the Mariners this season, up at the plate. .236 average coming into today, last in the majors. 82 home runs, only Oakland has fewer. They've scored the fewest runs in baseball.
Pretty change up right there from Blackburn on a 2-1 count to even it at 2-2. Well, he's just making all the pitches when he needs to. Behind on the count, goes something off speed. Now he's probably got him set up for something inside. And that's where he's going. Didn't quite get it in as much as he wanted to. And Branyan had a good pitch to hit there, but he came up empty. Watch Joe Mauer's glove. Let's take a look-see here. What do you want, Joe? What do you want? He wants a changeup. That's what Blackburn wants. I think that was the right choice by Blackburn. Well, the bottom just falls out of that changeup. Right over the top of it goes big Russell Branyan. One quick out.
Well, now it's time for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge Spotlight. And it's all about Doug Fister and Nick Blackburn. And just as those two guys have given the Twins and the Mariners the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men mustache and beard.
Both guys have just been a lot of fun to watch here this afternoon. Both guys working quick. Both guys throwing strike after strike.
That ball ripped, but foul from Jose Lopez. Lopez with one of the 2 hits for the Mariners today.
That was probably the hardest hit ball here this afternoon off Nick Blackburn. Let's go back to Joe Mauer and Nick Blackburn and watch them work together. Back to the changeup. He feels good about that one. For good reason.
There's a called strike. So Blackburn ahead in the count yet again. That one just off the corner.
Just missed with that one. Good pitch.
Well, another thing the Twins do very well is not give away the free passes.
Very true. Earn your way on.
Fewest in all of baseball. That's the way it's been 5 of the last 6 seasons for Twins pitchers. So if you're catching it and you're not giving extra runners and free passes, you're doing okay.
It's a pretty good recipe for winning baseball games. Make the opponent beat you. Remember when you were in Little League and your mom used to always yell at you from the stands? Don't help him!
But once again, he had a 4-game stint down at AAA Rochester. He returned to the big league club last Monday, and in his 2 starts, he has been solid. 3 runs and less than 14 innings of work. You got to wonder, once Kevin Slowey gets healthy and he's on the DL with a sore tricep, where does Nick Blackburn fit in this whole thing? Jason Kubel on the run, makes a solid catch in right.
Have we said that the Minnesota Twins are very good defensively? What a great play here. Kubel, a long run, and then reaches out knee high. That would have been a fair ball, and that would have been probably 3 bases if that gets by Kubel. If that gets down into the corner, he's probably on third base. Instead, just another terrific play by a Minnesota Twins defender.
So now 2 down, Casey Kotchman. Twins bullpen is quiet, and with good reason. Hard one hopper right to Tolbert. And it's another 1-2-3 inning for Nick Blackburn. We head to the 8th, 1-0 Minnesota. Decision because he has been replaced by 29-year-old right-hander Sean White, on for the 36th time this year. 0-1, an ERA of 5.58.
Well, Doug Fister was fabulous. 7 innings, got his pitch count up there at a concerning level, so he'll step aside, and Sean White going to come in. Big Sean White, a right-hander.
Bernard Span with a bunt attempt. Lopez barehands it, throws, and makes a good play.
What a terrific play. This is the second time we've seen this. Is a more conventional backhand and a perfect strike over to Kotchman to get Span by a step. This time good defense by the Mariners. Well, that is a really nice play.
So 1 down for Matt Tolbert.
Well, both teams just very efficient. The pitching, the defense.
Called strike. White has been up and down between here and Tacoma twice this season. Swing and a miss by Tolbert.
That was the change up there from White. He just stays right on the mound. Give me a sign, give me a sign. All right, I'm doing it. He's working fast as well.
That ball is going to be trouble. Langerhand's trying to cut it off in the corner. He won't be able to. Tolbert is going to stop at second with a 1-out double.
Well, we don't know what to think here. A base runner. Nice job of hitting on an 0-2 pitch. He gets one up in the zone. Tolbert does a nice job just swatting it the other way. And the runner in scoring position now here with 1 out in the top of the 8th inning. Top of the 8th.
Now Joe Mauer, average down to 328. He has yet to get the ball out of the infield today.
And it's decision time. Yeah, and there's your decision. They're going to put him on and take their chance with Jason Kubel.
The man who has the most RBIs in the American League in the month of August.
Pick your poison.
Yeah.
And that first wide one by White was almost on the plate, and I think Joe Mauer a little upset with himself that he didn't whack it somewhere.
So the three-time batting champ. Watch a fourth one sail wide, and so now 2 on, 1 out for Kubel. Major League Baseball is proud to stand up to cancer. Please visit standuptocancer.org to learn how you can help in the fight against cancer. Tolbert at second. He doubled. Mauer at first after an intentional pass. And now Jason Kubel 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a walk this afternoon. Fouls away the first one.
Sean White just challenged him right down the middle, belt tie. He had a big rip, but he was tardy. He beat him with that fastball.
This is a big at-bat really for the Mariners. I mean, if you go down 2 or 3 runs, only 6 outs left to play the way this team's been swinging.
Exactly.
Swing and a miss by Kubel, and White's ahead 0-2.
This time a changeup after missing the fastball down the middle. That's a changeup. That one had some good dip on it, some late dip. Another 0-2 hole for a Twins hitter.
Ball's a half foul. As Kochman gloves it. Twins 2-3 so far on their 7-game road trip, which will conclude tomorrow afternoon here in Seattle before they fly back to the Twin Cities. They love playing in that home park. 40-22 at Target Field. Just 1 game over 500 on the road. That ball hit sharply to Figgins. There's 1. There's 2, and for the 3rd time today, the Mariners get out of an inning after a double play. The Mariners down 1-0, try and get one back. 17,000 agents, we've got the best lineup in the game. And by new Gillette Odor Shield Antiperspirant. Help eliminate odor, don't just cover it up. Tell you what stinks is Seattle's offense today. Nick Blackburn has retired 16 consecutive batters.
I love it when you wax poetic.
Yeah.
Beat around the bush.
Well, they'll be the first ones to tell you. It has been a frustrating season. They went in with such high hopes. They had obtained one of the best pitchers in the game in Cliff Lee. Pair him with King Felix. But the problem has been at the plate where they have been blanked 11 times this year.
Still haven't been able to get Eric Bedard on the field.
And quickly, Blackburn is ahead 0-2.
This has just been amazing to watch.
Johan Santana, the last Twins pitcher to deliver a 1-0 win. Had 17 Ks that day. Blackburn has used his defense. Just 4 strikeouts this afternoon.
That's Brandon League.
That ball hit deep to right. Kubel again on the run, watches it sail into the crowd. The question for this Seattle offense looking forward, where will the O come from? Of course, Ichiro continue to be Ichiro. Will Justin Smoke develop into that power hitter in the middle of that lineup? Dustin Ackley, outstanding second baseman down at AAA. When's he going to be ready? A lot of question marks. Meantime, it's the Twins that seemingly have all the answers, as they will head into September with a lead in this division. No infighting amongst the manager and the GM, unlike you'll see on Chicago's South Side occasionally. No bad tweets from family members.
Yeah, no tweet gate. Ball on that bat now. Here by Gutierrez, fighting off some tough pitches.
Well, we've been harping on the great job that Blackburn has done all day. And with that being said, he's one bad pitch away from having this game tied up.
That's the thing about these games. Every pitch has got to be max effort.
Ball lifted. Kadir gives it a look, but it's going to make the seats.
You have zero room for a mistake. I mean, complete concentration. Yeah, you should say, well, they should do that every pitch. Oh, it's a little different if you've got a 3 or 4 run lead.
There's Jack Zarensik, the Mariners GM. Doesn't stick out in the crowd with that outfit.
Not with that shirt on, no.
Not one bit. I like it, though. It's solid. No one just off the plate. Eight pitch at bat worked by Gutierrez. Longest for any Seattle player today in terms of pitches. Valencia on 2 hops. Good strong throw, and there's one down. Well, Saturday Baseball on Fox returns next week with a Grand Slam lineup. Some of you will see these Twins take on the first place Rangers. Others get the Reds and the Cardinals a battle from St. Louis. Mark and I will be in San Diego for the Rockies and Padres. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
That Reds-Cardinals game, make sure the backstop is anchored down.
Langerhans swinging on the first pitch. Young has got a long run, fighting the sun, and there's 2 down. But I wonder if Brandon Phillips will have anything to say this week.
If he's smart, no.
Well, you know, what happened was the Cardinals came in, they swept the Reds after Brandon Phillips basically said,
I hate the Cardinals.
Essentially, yeah. But then after that, the Cardinals went on a swoon, and the Reds went on a great run and now have a 4-game lead in that division. And the Reds, pretty much to a man, will swear by Brandon Phillips. They love the guy.
He's one of the great guys in the game.
Entertaining, and actually, as this ball by Josh Bard is lifted foul, Valencia gives chase but doesn't get there in time. I'm not going to say what he said was right, but it made baseball kind of fun as these two teams went at it.
Oh, I got no problem. Guys, he's a big boy. He can say whatever he wants to say. I just think that really motivated the Cardinals, and it cost the Reds 3 losses at that time. And then I think the Cardinals got so geared up for that series that they forgot to play in the next week coming up.
Can that really happen?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Brandon Phillips saying, I hate the Cardinals, but yet going to go tap, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Yadier Molina. If you hate me so bad, don't be my buddy.
Is this one going to fall? Young gives it a look, and it sails out of play.
But I like a good Donnybrook, too. Boys will be boys.
Yeah.
That's part of the game, too. Just anchor down the backstop.
You could pass on the Johnny Cueto doing the old Bruce Lee.
That's not, you don't do that with spikes on.
No. And he served a 7-game suspension. He's now back and part of a team that is in first place. Has dreams of October. In the meantime, the Mariners just have dreams of a single base hit, and they won't get it here. They get 19 in a row for Nick Blackburn.
Do it, son.
We are off to the 9th. It's 1-0 Minnesota. By Sprint. Sprint, the Now Network. Right now, the Mariners have their third pitch of the afternoon. It is 27-year-old right-hander Brandon League on for the 58th time this year. 8-6 this season. ERA of 2.77. And he's ahead on Michael Kadire, 0-2.
League a hard-throwing right-hander. He can run it up there in the high 90s. Seems like everybody can do that anymore.
League last pitch, the back end of a doubleheader Wednesday in Boston, picking up his 4th save of the season and the 6th of his career. A swing and a miss. Kind of the theme of today's game. So League Strikes out the first man he faces. Do you ever wish more people would go to bat for you and the things you care about? Log on to statefarm.com/go-to-bat and let State Farm help you go to bat for the charity of your choice. Jason Repko batting for the third time today. Jim Thome was originally the DH, but after grounding into a double play to end, or in the second inning, came up lame. Hurt his back a little bit. That one, the bat dies. Repko's out. Good play by Josh Wilson.
Well, Repko just got eaten alive by that pitch. Breaks his bat. Really nice play by Wilson, all in one motion to get it over there. 2 quick outs.
Brandon League, a guy that came over in the offseason for Brandon Morrow. Having a solid year for the Toronto Blue Jays. Swing and a miss by Delman Young, who has a pair of hits. Morrow, one of those guys that took a no-hitter into the 9th a few weeks back before it was broken up. And swing and a miss. That's something that Joe Mauer did this week down in Texas at the beginning of the road trip. Dirt.
When you look at the stuff that League brings to the mound day in and day out, you just wonder, how does this guy ever give up a run with the stuff he's got? High 90s fastball, great changeup as well. And like a really cool neck tattoo. You look good with one of those, Chris.
Who knows that I don't have one, Gracie? Maybe I'm rocking the neck tattoo. Swing and a miss. League strikes out 2 of the 3 men he faces. Will Nick Blackburn have a chance to go for his first shutout? We'll see. Matt Capps, the left-hander, the newly acquired Brian Fuentes getting loose in the bullpen should they be needed. But Nick Blackburn, the man who entered the day with the highest ERA in baseball, for pitchers with at least 100 innings pitched has been mowing them down, and he gets Josh Wilson swinging at the first pitch, and there's one down.
Well, you come into the ninth inning with 86 pitches total today. And you can see this is uncharted ground for him. And then he gets Josh Wilson to chase the very first pitch up and in. He jams him and gets one easy out. Now it gets a little more difficult.
Ichiro has grounded out to second, to third, and to first. And he looks at a called strike.
No surprise there.
Ichiro has led baseball and hit 6 times in his career. That is one shy of the Major League record shared by Pete Rose and Ty Cobb.
Mariner fans dying for something to cheer about. They're trying to get behind their guys. They're chanting Ichiro's name.
And they just want him to get on base any way he can. The man can still run with 32 steals this season.
He has a flair for the dramatic as well, does Ichiro.
The 2-1 by Nick Blackburn. Fouled away.
When you can get Ichiro to take swings like that, you are way ahead of the game. Still plenty of gas left in the tank, I would imagine, at 91 pitches.
Several single-digit pitch innings for Blackburn this afternoon, and a swing and a miss, and he is 1 out away from his first career shutout.
Gets him to chase one up and out of the zone, and right past Ichiro. That's a rarity. Sean Figgins now stands between Blackburn and what would have to go down as one of the best games we've seen this year.
Could baseball perhaps see another 1-0 game? Sean Figgins looks at a called strike.
Looks like he's still in complete command of himself. Just missed with a breaking ball. A lot of times pitchers and hitters in these situations get a little bit too amped up. You can see right now Blackburn very comfortable with himself, and his teammates are all on the top step for him.
Well, remember, this is a guy who made a playoff start a year ago. A month ago, sent down to the minor leagues. Now making just his second start back since being recalled from AAA, and is 1 out away from a gem. That one's inside. So he's falling behind Figgins 3-1. There's a called strike.
Taken all the way was Figgins. He's represents the tying run. He's trying to get on base with his speed as well. He's trying to get Russell the Muscle Brandon up to the plate to represent the winning run. Here we go.
And the Mariners have their first base runner since the second inning.
Oh boy, what a tough decision now for Ron Gardenhire. You've got Fuentes locked and loaded, and you traded for him. That's why you got him. But he looks like right now he's going to stay with Blackburn against the dangerous Russell Brandon. We're going to have a quick meeting on the mound, and here comes Gardy. What do you think here, Chris Rose? What's he going to do? Do you go to the left-hander who just got here about an hour ago? He's going to talk to Blackburn. How do you feel? See what kind of answer he gets.
Well, what kind of answer is he going to give him? He's not going to. He's not going to ask out here.
He's going to get the lefty.
Wow.
And I don't think Blackburn had a choice. But boy, did he do himself proud. Even Mariner fans giving this guy a
the newest member of the Twins bullpen, 35-year-old left-hander Brian Fuentes. Just joined the team today, flew up from Anaheim, where he's pitched the last season and a half with the Angels, on for the 40th time this year. Left-handed batters hitting just a .132 against him, and Mark Grace, that's why he's in the game to face Russell Branyan.
Well, this is a pennant race, folks, and this is why you went and got Brian Fuentes for these situations right here.
Branyan 2 for 5 lifetime with no homers against Fuentes.
Change up, strike one on a half swing, and also a left-handed pitcher, Chris. A little more difficult for Figgins to steal a base in this situation because of the good pickoff move that Fuentes has.
Figgins 32 for 41 in steal attempts.
Gas right on the outside corner after the first pitch changeup. Boy, if you're Brandon, you're like, what do I do now? I've seen a very good changeup and a perfectly placed fastball on the outside corner.
Fuentes has been brought in primarily to be Matt Capps' setup man, but here a perfect save situation, lefty on lefty, with 2 down in the 9th. The 0-2. Way outside.
That time the breaking ball, so he's showing all 3 pitches that he possesses. A changeup, a fastball, and then the sweeping breaking ball. That's what Twins fans are going to see for the rest of the season.
Swing and a miss, and Brian Fuentes does the job in his Twins debut. His 24th save of the year. Nick Blackburn evens his record at 8-8. 8 2/3 outstanding innings.
Well, a dramatic 1-0 game. Nick Blackburn. Boy, somebody's buying him dinner tonight, and that's why you went and got Brian Fuentes. You go out there and you get him, and he's been here maybe an hour, just got to the airport today, and he comes through. Let's take a look at how he got Brandon. There's a changeup, strike one. Gas right to the outside corner, strike two. The sweeping breaking ball to set up another fastball right where he wants it. Brian Fuentes, welcome to Minnesota.
So Fuentes, a job well done by the 4-time All-Star closer who was picked up for a